Hey, what's going on, guys? Rum Gaming here, back in another video. Today's episode, we're going to be taking a quick look at how to play Camille in the top lane. This guide is going to be geared more towards beginners or people coming back and, you just need like a quick refresher on how to play Camille and just wanted to take a look at some of like her basic combos. That being said, let's go ahead and get started. So let's start out with her passive here, Adaptive Defenses. Camille's attacks on champions create a shield against their damage type, physical or magic, for 2 seconds. This effect has an 18-second cooldown. So we can attack this target dummy here and take a look at exactly what that looks like. So we can attack that, and you can see we have gotten the shield. We've procced that shield. And you see now our passive has gone on cooldown. Again, that's going to be a magic or physical damage shield. Moving on to her Q Precision Protocol. Camille's next attack deals additional physical damage and grants her 25% move speed for 1 second. This ability can be recast in the next 3.5 seconds. If the recast attack hits at least 1.5 seconds at the first, the bonus damage is increased to 33, and 40% of the attack damage is converted into true damage. So not too much going on with this, to be honest. You just Q, right? And then you have the ability to recast and Q again. If you do that in 1.5 seconds, you get a bonus to the amount of damage that you do. Up next, we have her W ability, Tactical Sweep. So Tactical Sweep, Camille winds up and slices down physical damage. Enemies hit by the outer half are slowed by 80%, decaying over 2 seconds, and they take an additional 6% max health physical damage. Camille restores 100% of the bonus damage dealt to champions as health. So kind of similar to something like an Aatrox ability, right? You're trying to line the enemy up in a specific zone within the ability. So like it said, you want to hit them in the outer portion of the, so you see right here we have a top half and a bottom half. If we hit them with the top half where the dummy is now within our ability cone, she will get slowed by 80% and take additional damage. So really, when you engage, you almost want to be attacking the target and then W and almost walk backwards. I kind of missed it there, but you kind of get the idea. And then one thing that would make that a little bit easier to hit is the movement speed from our Precision Protocol. So we can Q and get the move speed, and that's going to allow us to move backwards a little bit faster and land our tactical sweep in the sort of sweet spot, right? So you could Q, W. Next, we have her E, her hook shot. So Camille fires a hook shot, attaches to terrain, pulling her to it for 1 second and allowing this ability to be recast. So Camille dashes from the wall, colliding with first enemy hit. Upon landing, she deals damage to nearby enemies and stuns enemy champions for 3/4 of a second, and then dashes towards enemy champions, travel twice as far, and grant 40% attack speed for 5 seconds on impact. So what that means is if you dash towards an enemy champion with this, that dash will go twice as far. So if I try to dash here, then here, you can see I traveled a short distance. But this target dummy up here, I could dash here and then go all the way up to this target dummy. So you could just move further if you target an enemy champion. But yeah, that's kind of how that works, is you attach to terrain and you can kind of slingshot yourself into other targets. One thing to note is I do not have to press this ability twice. You could just E the wall and then right click the dummy. You don't have to press E twice. So I can E the wall, then just simply right click the dummy and I will go. Okay, now let's take a quick look at her ultimate, the Hextech Ultimatum. Camille briefly becomes untargetable and leaps onto an enemy champion, interrupting channels and knocking them into an area they cannot escape by any means for 2.5 seconds. Other nearby enemies are knocked away. Her attacks against the trapped enemies deal an additional 4% current health magic damage. So to show you what this looks like, we have 2 target dummies which are stacked on each other here. Her ultimate says other nearby enemies are knocked away. So if we ultimate this specific target, we will basically dash to them, and that target dummy is knocked out, and there's this sort of hexagon here. Or sorry, I guess it's actually a pentagon, but no enemies can leave it or enter this area for 2.5 seconds. So it doesn't last for a super long time, but just note that's kind of how it works. And of course, enemies that are trapped in here will take a little bit additional magic damage from you. So a very basic trait in lane could be something like an auto attack Q, E, E, auto attack Q, W. Now, one thing to note with your W is it's going to go where your mouse is. So it's not based on where you're facing, it's based on where your mouse. So I could be facing this way, right? And W behind me with my mouse behind me, and my character model is going to turn. So just be careful with that, right? Because a lot of the times we'll be trying to disengage an enemy, right? And we try to W, and because our mouse is back here, we would W the wrong way. So just make sure if you're trying to disengage an enemy, you click and then you put your mouse over here and you put it towards the direction you're wanting it to go. Okay, then a basic all-in would look something like this. You could E, auto attack, Q, ultimate, auto attack, Q. Now, one of the things that you need to take advantage of when playing Camille is Sheen. Sheen works really well with her kit, and this will build into a Trinity Force. We'll talk about like itemization here in a minute, but you need to focus on using these Sheen procs in between your abilities. And the reason that most of the times we don't Q back to back, like QQ instantly, is because Sheen is more powerful than the recast on our Q2. So if we look at the recast on our Q2, 39 bonus damage versus Sheen's 83 bonus physical damage. So it's better to Q auto attack than it is to QQ auto attack. And it's one of the big reasons also that we want to weave an auto attack pretty much in between every single ability that we cast. All right, so when we EE, we want to auto attack first before we Q, because we want that Sheen proc. Okay, now let's go ahead and talk a little bit about itemization. So she's running, at the moment, Teleport Ignite. The reason we're running Ignite is because we have our E that covers so much distance. A lot of times you can get away with running something like Ignite. And we're running Resolve, we're running Grasp of the Undying, Shield Bash, Bone Plating, Unflinching. Then under the Inspiration Tree, we're running Magical Footwear, Biscuit Delivery, Attack Speed, Adaptive Force, Health Scaling. So in lane, you're wanting to trade around the following. You want to trade around your Grasp of the Undying. You want to trade around your passive, right, that we talked about, that gives us a shield, adaptive defense. And then you also want to trade around Shield Bash, right? Because whenever we get that shield from our passive, we're going to get that beefed up basic attack damage. And then the other thing you want to trade around is your Doran Shield. So when this is available, this is typically a good time to go in and trade so that you can restore some of that health after taking damage from a champion. Another thing you want to trade around as well is your Bone Plating. So after taking damage from an enemy champion, your next 3 spells or attacks you receive from them deal 30 to 60 based on level, less damage. So in lane, look to see if Bone Plating is available. Look to see if your Grasp of the Undying is available. Look to see if Doran Shield is available in your passive. Those are your kind of go signals on whether or not you want to make a trade. Now, in terms of itemization, we'll start Health Pot, Doran Shield, a Stealth Ward. Then we'll go into a Sheen, like we were talking about earlier. You're going to build that into a Triforce, Plated Steel Caps, depending on who you're against top lane. You can also go Merc Treads, that's fine. Ravenous Hydra, this is great for trading. This is great for clearing. Really good item overall. Then you'll go Spirit of Shojin. It's going to give us a stacking effect of more damage. Death's Dance. This is going to take any sort of burst damage that we receive and turn it into a damage over time effect to allow us to heal through that damage with items like our Ravenous Hydra. And then finally, Guardian's Angel. If you do need a little bit more tankiness, you can go to something like a Steric's Gauge and benefit from the shield that gives you. If you need Heal Cut, you can go into something like a Kimpunk Chainsword. And then an item that's often slept on is the Hull Breaker if you are committed to split pushing. In terms of your ability max order, you're going to be going a WQE levels 1 through 3. Then you'll be maxing QE and then finally W. All right, guys, that's been to this video. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. See you in the next one.